Punk here. It's a hot one. Let's go find some shade and go for a walk. So, sometimes you have to just ask yourself, when it comes to our society as it is right now, how is this all going to work? 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, how is this all going to work? I mean, most of us are, 80% full of shit now because we're living in this sort of, we're all kind of living behind our personas and masks and stuff, and we live in this post-truth world where we actually prefer lies that confirm our biases, right, over actually knowing the truth. I mean, we're so stuck in our little needs to feel superior, our hatreds, that we don't even want to know the truth. I mean, look at the treatment of Julian Assange. I mean, he's a perfect example. This is a guy who created a website so that government leakers who wanted to basically say our government's fucking us over and doing some really nasty shit and is hiding it from you could do so. And he would publish that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing fucking wrong with that at all. That's for me and you, the people. That is for me and you, the people. Don't make any mistake about that. And he has been treated in such a way. I mean, you see how people are being treated. The people, the sense makers, the truth tellers, they're coming after those people. I mean, this is just, what did the Maoists do? I mean, the first thing they went after was going after the intellectuals, because intellectuals are the people who contemplate and analyze and try to understand the normative problems of society and propose solutions to them. That is the definition of an intellectual. So of course you don't want those critically thinking people around, because they're going to say, hey, this guy's trying the tyranny game. Remember, guys, our natural state is tyranny, and if we don't protect ourselves, we end up, for some reason, always back under the boot, right? We do. And that's why it's so important for us to keep our wits about us. But something has happened to us. Anytime I talk to people these days, I'm not much for small talk, as anybody will tell you. So I tend to get into substantive issues pretty quickly. And what I find, just like these videos showing these pro-Palestinian protesters, once you peel back the onion, there's not much there. They don't actually know why they believe the things they believe. They're identifying with people, sure. And, and so much today is an aesthetic. I always think about, people think fascism today. When they think of fascism, they think of aesthetic. They think of Mussolini or Hitler or whatever, Pol Pot, when you think of this stuff, though. But that's not what it is. Fascism is the merging of corporate and state power, which we see happening all around us, and nobody's protecting us. Nobody's doing anything about us. The Antifa, oddly enough, are on the side of, the fascist, actually, and that's what's so wild about that. They actually are they're acting as the foot soldiers for the fascists, and they. So anyway, but you see that all over the place. People don't know why they believe what they believe, and once you start getting into, the hypocrisy of most people today becomes evident very quickly. Because you see that, oh, well, if you believe that, that's actually in direct conflict with this belief over there. And then they don't even realize that they're holding two separate concepts in their own mind, because to them it's separate issues. But they don't understand that in order to be a truly moral and decent person, you have to be fairly consistent across lines, right? Because if you're just going with the crowd, if you're just conforming, if you're just virtue signaling, that doesn't mean that you're a moral person. Psychopaths are excellent virtue signalers. Narcissists excel. And these are shitty people. These are the worst people, right? So I just don't know how this is going to work, especially now that we're actually promoting narcissism within our society. We're actually amping those qualities up. We're amping up the psychopathy. Like we're boiling, we're like simmering all that stuff up. And then we're also tacitly, culturally saying, it's okay. Go be a whore. Go rob the store. Do this thing. Do that bad thing. Do this antisocial bullshit. And I don't know why we have this antisocial crap. You know, drag queens for 5-year-olds is not progressive. We're not distinguishing between sexuality and kink. Why aren't you doing that? I mean, sexuality is one thing. Kink is another thing. 5-year-olds stuffing G-strings down drag queens, there's nothing good about that. All you're doing is you're not protecting the innocence of youth. And that's the worst thing. We're only given that innocence, that curiosity, that childlike wonder and amazement. Why the fuck would you want to jade that by, oh, I don't want them to be naive or bigoted. No. That's not the right excuse. You're doing something tantamount to, I mean, I see it as evil. I mean, that's not good. Corrupting the innocence of youth. I don't know why why our society is sort of on this sort of pedophile bent right now. We're, oh, that'll never happen. You see what's happening. You see the logical conclusions to the ideas. Not hard to see. Why deny it? Why deny the obvious conclusion? We are now softening the language like we do everything. Mildly attracted persons, or minor attracted persons. You know, we've already, you know, they're already softening things. Where was it? In UK just recently, if somebody, or here in this country, if somebody sends you child porn, it's not illegal. They're opening this shit up. And I mean, you know, and I mean, we already you look at the debt that we're leaving children in, you look at all the abortions, you look at just the horrible indoctrination camps we send these kids to, you look at what we did to them during COVID. I mean, why do we have an issue with our children? Why are we doing these things? What the hell, grandparents and parents, what are we doing? You're supposed to ready children for the real world as it is, not some make-believe land. But you all are like sending these kids into delusional land before they even become adults. They come out deluded and insane. And they're not, and how do we build a productive, peaceful, you know, good society where we're all at least working together? You know, we don't always have to fucking get along, people, but we do have to work together. You know, I mean, tolerance, you know, we used to just preach tolerance back in the day. And, you know, for us humans, that's about as good as we're fucking gonna get. I'm sorry. I mean, we don't have to love everybody. We don't have to love everything. You know what I mean? But we do have to practice tolerance. And right now, the left has become so intolerant in their attacks of the working classes and the rednecks and of course the white trash. But I mean, the Christians and, you know, the white male and blah, 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 blah. And it's all bullshit, right? Like all of that is programmed because if you start to look through all of these arguments, none of them make any fucking sense. It's like the green argument. We've got to rip up the planet first, and go deeply into debt, consuming more than we ever would before, so that we can create this new energy that will eventually do something down the road. Meanwhile, Janet Yellen's like, there's 150 trillion up for debt over the next 3 decades. That's what it's about. Like, and it's right there in front of us. You know, they don't want to. All we hear is about carbon and carbon credits and blah 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 blah. That's a means of control, obviously, by the way, and just to tax you more and make things more expensive on you, right? They're going to create a market which they get to trade, make money. They're going to make money off of that while everything gets more expensive on us. It's not going to do shit. I mean, well, it does a little bit. It actually does. I mean, it's so penalizing on businesses and whatnot that it does actually do something. But it's very, very, it's an underhanded way of doing it, you know, because in the meantime, they don't care about the toxins in the environment, which are probably a bigger problem than the carbon, than the greenhouse gases that are going to make the whole world green, right? I mean, ultimately, it's humans that are the issue. Let's not pretend like Mother Earth has a problem here. I mean, the greenhouse gases, I mean, yeah, it's the George Carlin thing. I mean, if Mother Earth wants us off, she's just got to shake us off. The Earth is not the problem. We don't need to save Mother Earth. It's us. You know what I mean? And for all the people who already seem to hate humans as it is, what do they care? I mean, if you have such contempt for other human beings as so many people are publicly expressing these days, you know, then why pretend at the same time that you care, right? I don't understand it, but I do try to figure out how are we going to hold this thing together, you know? How's it going? And I don't know. I don't know how it's going to. I mean, we're not into truth anymore. We're propagandized out the wazoo. I mean, and everybody's like, oh, I'm not. And nobody thinks they're propagandized. Everybody is. Everybody is propagandized out. Like, people, as far as I can tell, can't even think straight anymore. Their brains have been so mind-fucked. They've been mind-fucked. I mean, and, you know, but you just see people huddling. Yeah, nobody wants the truth. Nobody wants to use reason or logic anymore. Nobody actually, you know, we want to talk about science as if it's a thing, but we don't actually care if there's actually good science being done. We don't care. We don't care if it's all sponsored by special interest. That's the science. It's the science. That's become like this religion to people. Well, it is a religion. I mean, we see, you know, for the non-religious, we see all of these religions popping up. They're getting really mythical. They're into myth and lore and superstition. It's really wild to watch how culty they get, you know. And they're all into, like, instead of God and higher vibrations and power, they're all into, like, we need more bureaucracy, man. We need fuckloads more bureaucracy. The bureaucracy will save us. They actually think that shit. They think the government bureaucracy is going to save them. How insane is that in real terms? That is possibly the most, I mean, let's go read a Kafka book, huh? I mean, let's go look at Orwell. And why do you think that? Why do you think the government, you know, wrangled in by the party, you know, the party of chaos, which of course is today's left because it doesn't make any coherent sense. It's all just chaotic thought, right? I love this article that came out that's suggesting that educated liberal feminist females are the biggest threat in society. And I mean, you know, at this point, because they're all into this intersectional stuff and drag queens for kids and, you know, third term abortions and fuck men and men are awful and, you know, we just want to be boss babes and live in our cubicles forever and have side hustles, man. You know, I mean, it's just, what? We just love that premarital promiscuous sex so much, and we love being able to capitalize those good years, you know. But most of them wasted anyway. You know, they waste them on douchebags. Why does this thing like never? Like I don't want to like hold it right up in my face or out there, but anyway. All right. I give the feminists a lot of problems because I mean a lot of issues today. Because I mean I was a pro-feminist guy when I was young. You know, second wave feminism seemed to make sense back in the day. This shit that's going on today, where it's just a female supremacy movement, you know, where it's just it's just so irrational. Like none of it makes cohesive sense. So as somebody who likes to think about ideas, it's just you can tell it's all just trash. It's trash, and you can see the effects within society today. We have the data. The data's in. Nobody's happier. The kids are fucked, which is, I believe, what a moral society would organize around is trying to make it, you know, improve the place for the next generation. We are now trying to loot. I mean, our whole society is about looting the generation, jading those children, punishing them, telling them that they're the ones making old people sick. You're bad, and we're basically shaming young white guys like from the womb these days. You better be a homosexual because if not, you're basically going to be seen as the devil. Okay. All right, that all makes sense. No, none of it makes sense. It's all trash can ideology. But everybody's falling for it because, it feeds something with them. They're not bothering to investigate. They likely have very limited IQs. And that is one of the things about democracies, though. It is the tyranny of the majority, right? Thank God we have a constitutional republic, because a straight up democracy would just be mob rule, obviously. It would be whatever the propaganda was able to mindfuck the people into believing this week. That's the problem with democracy, is that we aren't smart enough. We don't stay informed. We just believe Rachel Maddow. And again, I'm going to say this about Rachel Maddow because, I think liberal people think she's smart because she's got that whole look to her. Remember, she won a defamation lawsuit because the judge ruled that people said, no, people know that she's just entertainment. That this isn't for real news. Do you know that? Do you know that? You know what I mean? That is entertainment that you're watching, and all you're doing, it's just it's your hate. You're gathering for hate. That's all you're doing. And I love how the left today is all about, it's the right that hates. Y'all are projecting and using every defense mechanism. I often try to figure out if an ideology or a movement were a person, what would it be? Are they showing empathy? Are they being creative or innovative? Are they showing me how this all works together? Or is it all just people stoking their little tribal hatreds for each other, right? And basically we see a bunch of tribalism happening today. It's so funny because we pretend like we're being progressive, but all of this stuff is actually regressing us to our sort of more baser natures. We're losing the Enlightenment thinking. We're losing the higher thought. We're losing the consciousness. We're losing consciousness. That sucks. We as a species are losing consciousness. We collectively, together, we're dumbing ourselves down. We're bringing our vibes down. That's what we're doing. We're doing this together. Any of you bitching and yelling and just being angry at others and not trying to actually understand. The key to life is true awareness. But I don't know. Nobody values the truth anymore. And that's, nobody cares as long as it benefits their side or it's just all tribalism again. We're reverting back. All the women are going for the chads, because pre-civilization, really, all women would share the attention of an alpha male over the exclusive attention of a lesser male. So we're seeing that it's degrading like that on Tinder. We just see the degradation, and it's being couched as progress, but it's demoral. We have a lot of demoralization going on. People are just, they don't want to work as hard. I work with the federal government. People just don't even, or I had been working with the federal government, but I've gotten so frustrated that I've kind of been ranting at them a bit because they're just not doing anything. They have these fucking cush jobs, and they're just working from home, and they're loving life. They're just loving life, and I guess good for them. Whatever, they got it. But they're not being helpful, is what I'm saying. We're just transferring wealth, their overhead, right? Mainly at this point. And man, I was just in DC, man, that city is just dripping with wealth. My God. I used to live in DC, but wow, what it has become. That whole surrounding area, wow. And that's all just, that's taxpayer dollars. So look at these little hubs where all the government is, Austin and, San Francisco has been hijacked by the government again, or Silicon Valley is basically. Look at where these places are. You'll see that your money is going to fund some nice fucking lifestyles. They don't give a shit about you either. Remember, you guys are fighting about politics. The government is out of fucking control, y'all. They don't give a shit. Hunger Games, they're all jockeying to be in District 1. They're not going to fight against it. They don't care about you. They are straight, they know what side they're loyal to, and they're not loyal to us at all. The regular people, they're not loyal to us. They are, it's a whole halves group. You know what I mean? They've all gone to college with each other. They date each other. They marry each other. It's in that divide is getting wider and wider and wider all the time. So I don't know why people who are not parts of those groups would ever vote for these people. I mean, I don't understand why there are any working class, small business owner Democrats left. I mean, why would you? Why? This is the party of the government dependents. The government contractors, the government bureaucrat, the people getting large checks in the mail. That's what the party is. The productive, largely have been on the other side, and that was always my first notion about the Democrats, right? They hate small business. They can't control small business, in corporatism, which we see rising everywhere today, it's a scratch. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. We have mutual interests, so forth and so on. Let's try to, what are you doing here? There we go. I'm trying to push this all around and stuff, and I could just push a button, Anyway, well, I don't know what else I'm going to say, but I'm just trying to figure out how are we going to keep this thing together. I mean, the women aren't having babies. We're bringing in all these migrants who are not going to share any of the same traditional values of America. Now everybody says that those are bad things, but they're not actually. They're not. These are the unthinking people. They don't really know what they're talking about when they say shit like that. They just don't. They think they do. And it's that whole Dunning-Kruger effect, The smartest people are usually the ones asking questions. The people blaring out that I know, they're the ones that generally don't know shit. The ones who are most convinced that they know are the ones that are lying to you. For sure. And I really feel like we should reconcile this not devoting ourselves to the truth thing. Why is we need to start asking ourselves, why is the truth bad? We're living through we have sophisticated propaganda that's doing this, and yet at the same and we are actively rejecting the truth, rejecting people trying to tell us the truth. We're persecuting the truth tellers. I mean, they used to say that, I keep always saying, people ask, how did the Nazis become the Nazis, or who would be the Nazis today? I mean, we see who if you were one of those people that, for instance, thought the Canadian truckers should go down and you approved of the Canadian government taking their bank accounts from them, it's you. It's you. If you were all we know who it is. If you're against the people who were trying to critically think, who were asking questions, it's not the people telling you what to think that are the smart people. It's people asking questions. And you guys got all against anybody asking any goddamn questions. Anybody asking questions during that whole pandemic thing, you guys were like, you are the devil, you're evil, put him to the gas chamber. Some of you guys were getting like that, and you didn't see it. Zero self-fucking awareness. Zero awareness, just like the Antifa kids. Zero self-fucking awareness. I actually worry that we're beyond idiocracy, that we are so much more intellectually stupid than we actually think we are. I think people still think that there are competent people places. In the federal government, there really aren't. So all you little socialists and communists who want to give more power to the federal government and enlarge the already massive bureaucracies to control our lives even more, And, you know, so that we don't get it, so we never fucking get innovation ever fucking again. You know, think about it a little bit. I mean, think about it. Do your thoughts actually mean anything? I mean, I understand we're in late stage capitalism. It's all become cronyism at this point. But again, that's central government bullshit. We could go back to free markets if we wanted to. Free markets are pretty fucking cool because it allows us to be free and for us to trade openly and for us to innovate and for us to actually get paid for what we do and for the productivity and what we contribute to society instead of just, you know, not being recognized for shit and, you know, not being paid well, all living under the fucking boot. I don't know why y'all think that's gonna be a good thing. I mean, you can see the setup, right? We're 35 trillion debt. The boomers are going to leave you about 100, for you Gen Zers, they're going to leave you 100 trillion debt, right? Or just a complete collapsed system. I mean, you know, but you guys are still, yay, let's still do what they wanted. You guys are still bought into the fucking boomers. You're still bought into their politics. What the fuck, guys? Come on, you're Gen fucking Z. You know, the millennial bitches are, I'm sorry, millennial women, but you guys are a lost fucking cause. You guys are, I mean, you guys have created your own freaking misery. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that bad word there. But, you know, that was meant in jest. You know, it's like, hey, bitches. But, I mean, just, you know, I don't know what that whole thing, I want a gay kid. And, you know, why didn't you want your kid to be a Teletubby? They would have been that too. I mean, if you tell them enough, right? I mean, anyway, I root for women because I mean the only way this comes back is if women come to their senses. If they start to go, hey, we want good men again. Oh, we want productive citizens. Oh, we don't want traumatized youth. Oh, actually raising children is important. Hey, family is not the enemy. You know what I mean? And you know, maybe we should do things that actually prepare us to be happy in these things, actually prepare us for long-term relationships, and so that we don't come traumatized or, you know, already whatever happens, you know, along the way. You know, you always hear the stories. You know, I mean, you know, it's just, are we doing the right things? Are we even thinking about it? Or are we just saying, oh, this is what everybody else is doing, so it must be right? They're experts or science or something, right? I mean, first of all, nobody really, as you can see by like our president and somebody, I mean, and especially in our government, nobody knows what they're doing. That's an illusion that you think that there's competency and expertise. No, most people are just conforming. They're just doing what the other guy did. That's all they're fucking doing. They're going through it. There might be some rhetoric and some bullshit and some propaganda that goes along with it. But overall, they're just following the leader. Nobody's, I mean, this society is almost drained of creativity and innovation at this point. We haven't begun to reckon with that because we're all praying that, you know, AI saves us. I mean, that's basically where we're at right now. Like, we've played all of our cards. It's going to fucking collapse. But we have this one fucking last thing here. Maybe this AI, we can do this and it will exponentially increase our productivity and blah, 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 blah. And we'll be able to pay off all of our reckless spending and bullshit cronyism that we've been doing all these years, right? I mean, but I don't know. I get the sense that the AI thing is a bit overblown, and behind all of it is still sort of humanity with all of its worst traits. And I don't think the people that are in this game, the AI game, are like super empathetic, higher conscious people. I think there's a lot of you know, sleazeballs in that sort of industry, sleazeballs and conformists and things like that. But anyway, I don't know what I was saying there actually, but I guess I'm done with the walk today. But I do wish you guys peace. I wish you guys enlightenment. I wish you higher vibrations and consciousness. I mean, you know, why not go for the gold? Hey, God bless. Peace.